Battle through the firmament. Grand world. Chapter 326. Monster. Dark, deep, desolate. What appeared in front of Shaoyan was a boundless wilderness, the sky above his head as black as ink, oppressive and bleak. Traces of torn light shone through the darkness like tiny stars, casting a gloomy aura over the land. As he walked through the illusory spirit space, Shaoyan focused all of his attention. In his mind, he recalled what Mahiyu had said. In ancient times, too many powerful beings had fallen here. Their source key had turned into demons that roamed this place. Initially, any monster here possessed the strength of a giant, earning this place the infamous title of Asura Purgatory among the great worlds. Supreme experts once came here to cultivate. Over time, the origin kiss of those almighty experts gradually depleted, and the demon's strength weakened. Eventually, the place was abandoned by the supreme experts. However, to the deans who had just established the 4 academies, it became an invaluable cultivation resource. They paid a hefty price to secure the illusory spirit space, turning it into the shared training ground of the 4 academies. Stepping on the blood-red ground, Shaoyan tread carefully. The dim light revealed the ancient, darkened blood of mighty figures long gone. The surroundings were eerily quiet, broken only by the strange whispers of the wind, as if it howled from the darkness into the abyss. "Hey, I slept for a while. Why did you come to this place?" Xiaoao's voice suddenly echoed in Shaoyan's mind. A crimson gold flame surged from Shaoyan's chest, coalescing into a short-haired, red-headed Xiaoao beside him. "The invincible and handsome Master Xiaoao has arrived." Xiaoao chuckled, though a deep weariness lingered in his expression. "You know about this place?" Catching the implication in Xiaoao's words, Shaoyan's heart skipped a beat. Xiaoao glanced around, pondering. "I think I remember. I came here with that old man long ago. Back then, this place was teeming with monsters, not as desolate as now." He added, "I haven't seen a single monster for ages." Shaoyan's spirits lifted. As Xiaoao's strength grew, so did his memories, no longer relying solely on bloodline imprints. This was a boon for the current situation. "Teacher has also been here before." Shaoyan sighed softly. Time had turned full circle. Now he, Yi Tianshan's disciple, walked the same path. "Of course. Back then, we were at the monic cultivation level. We ventured deep and found many treasures." Xiaoao smacked his lips, lost in memory, then suddenly grinned at Shaoyan. "What are you plotting?" Shaoyan eyed Xiaoao's sly smile warily. The once innocent Xiaoao was long gone, replaced by this mischievous version. "When we came here, the old man sensed something unusual but didn't dare venture deeper. Now that we're here, we must check it out. If that old man noticed it, it must be a treasure." Xiaoao's eyes sparkled with greed. "Are you joking?" Shaoyan's expression darkened. "Back then, you were at monic cultivation and still hesitated. At my current monic spirit level, I'd be courting death." Xiaoao waved dismissively. No, it's been ages. The monsters here must have weakened. There's no way any Emperor cultivation level beings remain. Even if there were, we could handle them together." His pleading smile didn't sway Shaoyan. No, Shaoyan's refusal was firm. This place was fraught with danger. Mahiyu's warnings echoed in his mind. Survival came first. Fortune favored the bold, but recklessness led only to death. Xiaoao sighed, his eyes rolling. "Fine. With my current strength, an Emperor cultivation monster would be tough. But I still remember the layout. Follow me, and your strength will skyrocket." Relieved, Shaoyan exhaled. He was here to grow stronger, not chase shadows of the past. Who knew if the treasure even existed anymore? With Xiaoao leading, Shaoyan felt more at ease. The weak light posed no obstacle to his soul's strength or Xiaoao's sharp eyes, allowing them to navigate the treacherous terrain safely. Back then, demons were everywhere, even monic cultivation ones. Now, nothing. Xiaoao muttered, only to freeze mid-step. His fiery eyes locked onto the distance, his expression turning grave. Shaoyan sensed it too, a disturbance in the air. There, A great gift awaits. Xiaoao smirked as 3 monsters emerged from the black fog. The creatures resembled emaciated humans, the skin crisscrossed with black lines. Empty eye sockets pulsed with faint spiritual light, and powerful origin ki leaked from their chests, where their origin beads lay. Monarch spirit level, and the weakest kind. Xiaoao dismissed them with a glance. The monsters let out guttural roars, their hollow eyes flaring as they lurched forward. Just as Xiaoyan prepared to strike, a metallic clang echoed. A towering figure clad in armor stepped from the fog, its crimson eyes glowing. A blood-stained spear gleamed in its grip, each step ringing with the weight of death. Xiaoyan, this one's an emperor level. Its origin bead is worth 30 monarch spirit beads. Xiaoao's grin widened. Excitement surged in Xiaoyan's chest. This was a challenge he could face and conquer. Chapter End. Battle Through the Firmament. Grand World. Chapter 327 Becoming an Emperor. Before Xiaoyan could do anything, the armored monster let out a deafening roar. It waved its spear and charged at Xiaoyan. Although its speed was slow, it was extremely fast. The other 3 monarch spirit monsters trembled under the deterrence of Xiaoyan's voice. To them, the flesh and blood of humans could enhance their strength, but in front of this deterrent force, they could only hold back the madness in their hearts. Xiaoyan's eyes focused, and he leapt up into the air. The blue flame ruler in his hand had already appeared, and he was now attacking the armored demon. When the Xiaoao saw this, it also shifted its gaze to the other 3 monsters. It had been a long time since it had come out to exercise. These 3 guys were perfect for practicing. Wang, the blue flame ruler and the black spear collided. The force that came from the collision made Xiaoyan's arms numb. He let out a breath and stopped underestimating them. With a wave of his wrist, he blocked the incoming spear once again. After exchanging a few blows and seeing that it was unable to injure Xiaoyan after a long time, the red light in the eyes of the armored devil became even more dazzling. Its body trembled slightly, and along with the intense fluctuation of the origin ki in front of its chest, an undetectable yin ki was emitted from its body and swept towards Xiaoyan. Be careful of that yin ki. The Xiaoao's eyes were like lightning, and it immediately sensed something. While fighting the 3 monsters, it didn't forget to remind Xiaoyan. Xiaoyan's expression was solemn. The origin monarch ki in his hand surged out. Like a gust of wild wind, it blew over and dispersed the lingering yin ki. As the sovereign flame on the blue flame ruler burned, it actually let out a strange wail. This is the origin corpse ki that can corrode one's body. A tiny bit of it will require a large amount of origin monarch ki to get rid of. When the old man and I came here, a monarch cultivation warrior was corroded by a large amount of origin corpse ki and turned into a pile of bones in an instant. After sending the 3 demons flying with a few punches, the Xiaoao said with a solemn expression. The scene at that time was still vivid in its mind. Xiaoyan nodded his head. He didn't dare to lower his guard against the monsters in front of him. His body was surrounded by flames, burning the source corpse ki that rushed over into nothingness. After exchanging a few rounds of attacks, Xiaoyan could clearly see the means of the monster. Apart from the source corpse ki, its strength was much stronger than that of an ordinary emperor. Although it had some intelligence, it didn't cause much damage to Xiaoyan. With an understanding, Xiaoyan shook his head and quickly killed the metal-armored monster. Following a ghost cry, the body of the metal-armored monster suddenly turned into a black fog and disappeared. A dragon eye-sized origin bead fell to the ground. Picking up the origin bead, Xiaoyan clicked his tongue and sighed in admiration when he sensed that it was filled with Xiaoyans. The origin monarch kiss within were indeed rich. The origin monarch ki within the spiritual source array that he used for cultivation could not be compared to them. Luckily I split a few flames with Zuna and Kalen before coming in. It should be able to suppress the origin corpse ki. Sighing, Xiaoyan started to worry about Zuna and Kalen. The strength of the monster was only average. However, the pervasive corpse ki gave him a headache. Here you go. The Xiaoao had also quickly dealt with the 3 monarch spirit monsters, and handed the 3 origin beads to Xiaoyan. His current strength, the Monic Spirit level monster's origin beads were no longer useful. After taking the 3 Xiaoyaos, Xiaoyan looked at the 4 Xiaoyans in his hand with a burning gaze. The origin beads within the origin Monic Kiss were glowing brightly, causing the origin chains in his body to buzz. He pondered for a moment. Xiaoyan sat down cross-legged. The 4 origin beads floated in front of him. The moment Xiaoyan formed a hand seal, numerous origin beads immediately surged out from the 4 origin Monic Kiss and surged into Xiaoyan's body. Why are you in such a hurry? He curled his lips. The Xiaoyao consciously walked to Xiaoyan's side to protect him, but his eyes were fixed on Xiaoyan. He looked in a certain direction, then looked at Xiaoyan with a cunning smile on his cute face. 4 origin Monic Kiss continuously entered Xiaoyan's body. Under the refinement of the 2 Monic flames, they turned into the purest origin Monic Kiss and entered his body, penetrating all the meridians in his body. When they gathered into the origin Monic crystal, the original 8 origin chains began to buzz. After surrounding the origin Monic crystal, on the other side, a crystal clear origin chains was also forming at an extremely fast speed. During the first battle with Byongzhao, Xiaoyan's strength had skyrocketed to 8 Monic Spirit. After a month of preparation and the combination of the flame mantra burning spell and the yin and yang, the origin Monic Ki in his body had become even sharper. After fighting with the few experts on the soaring dragon ranking, it had become more solid. Now, the feeling of eagerness in his body had become even stronger. Following a slight sound, an origin bead had already shattered and turned into ashes. At the same time, the chains within Xiaoyan's body began to ring. The 9th origin chains that penetrated his body extended out from the origin Monic crystal. As it shook, the origin Ki overflowed in all directions. 9 Monic Spirit. The sudden increase in momentum also attracted the attention of the Xiaoyao. Looking sideways, Xiaoyan's expression was solemn as he continued to crazily absorb the remaining 3 origin beads. Oh right, this guy's physical strength is comparable to an emperor, he can also withstand it. After muttering to himself, the excitement in the Xiaoyao's eyes intensified. Hurry up, the stronger the better. It will be safer to bring you wherever you go. Kaka. Almost at the same time, the 2 Monic Spirit levels that belong to Monic Spirit level monsters shattered one after another. The origin beads that were taken from the armored monster's body were still glowing brightly, and a large amount of origin Monic Kiss kept surging out. Boom! Flames surged on Jushinho's arm. His face was expressionless as he passed through the chest of the monster in front of him. He was holding the origin bead in his hand. His body was surrounded by raging flames. The origin corpse key that was spreading in all directions could not penetrate into his body. It took me half a day to get this Emperor origin bead. The monster in front of him slowly dissipated. Jushinho looked at the origin bead in his hand and sighed. He also knew this place. It used to be an ancient battlefield, but as time passed, the level of the monster became lower and lower. To him, it was impossible to quickly increase his strength. I only have 15 days left. I need to find the place where the monster kings are gathered as soon as possible. It would be even better if I can kill a Monic Emperor monster. Jushinho murmured to himself. He put away the origin bead in his hand, and dashed away. Chi. All the origin Monic Kiss on her body surged and eliminated the soybean-sized origin corpse key on her face. Wuxiaogi let out a light breath and put away the origin bead that fell from the ground. Just now, she was careless and actually let the origin corpse key touch her face. Fortunately, she discovered it early, otherwise the consequences would be unimaginable. No, it is too slow to collect it like this. After muttering, Wuxiaogi looked into the distance and mused for a while. Then, she gently bit her teeth and her body moved and flew into the distance. In the illusory spirit realm, she was fearless. That place was filled with danger and danger. If she did not do something bold, it would be impossible to increase her strength by a large margin. Boom! A loud explosion erupted from Xiaoyan's body. 9 chains resonated and rumbled like an ocean. Within Xiaoyan's body, the 9 crystal-clear jade-like origin chains had already transformed into a glowing red chain. Mysterious lines surfaced on the surface of the red chain. On it were even more abundant origin kiss as they surged endlessly. At the same time that the origin bead in front of him shattered, Xiaoyan slowly opened his eyes. The flame in his eyes flashed and disappeared. His entire person looked even more otherworldly. Emperor. Sensing Xiaoyan's strength, the excitement in the Xiao's eyes became even more intense. With this guy's ability, after he advanced to the Emperor realm, he would be able to fight a Monic Emperor. He needed to think of a way to trick this guy into going there. Chapter End. Battle Through the Firmament. Grand World. Chapter 328 Xiaoyi. As the buzzing sound of the origin chains in his body slowly faded, Xiaoyan also stood up from the ground. The comfortable origin monic key in his body was like a flowing river, and the feeling it gave him was far greater than when he was at the monic spirit. Xiaoyan slowly clenched his fist, and even his brows relaxed. The feeling he had now was several times stronger than when he had just entered. Not only that, the last time he advanced to the monic spirit was in the Spirit Heaven mansion. After a few years, he had finally reached the sovereign realm. While enjoying the exuberant life force in his body, Xiaoyan's brows suddenly furrowed. He couldn't help but look at his chest. At this moment, it was a bright red. A vigorous and powerful black gold ancient body, force, had appeared in front of his chest. Prestige power spell. Xiaoyan was startled when he saw the word, force, appearing on its own accord. It had been a long time since this thing had appeared. This time, it had actually appeared after his advancement. Black and golden words appeared in front of his chest. The powerful key that spread out from it made Xiaoyan feel suffocated. The Xiao by the side also had a shocked expression. Crack crack. As it rotated, the surrounding space even showed signs of cracking. A monstrous aura gushed out from it. Compared to Xiaoyan's monic key, it was like the light of a firefly. After rotating for a moment, the black and gold words entered Xiaoyan's chest once again. However, the key seemed to flow into Xiaoyan's body, causing his key to rise again. Tusk. The key is comparable to an emperor cultivation. Sensing the key on Xiaoyan's body, the Xiao was shocked. Although the former's strength was only that of an emperor, the key it emitted was comparable to an emperor cultivation warrior. If it was a fight between two people with the same strength, Xiaoyan could suppress his opponent with his key alone. This is great, this is great. After the exclamation, the Xiao became even more excited. The stronger Xiaoyan was, the less danger he would face if he went to that place. Woo! After pondering for a while, Xiaoyan still couldn't figure out what was going on. He wanted to probe the prestige power spell, but when his soul force entered the prestige power spell, it was like a stone ball entering the ocean, and he couldn't get any response. He shook his head. Xiaoyan also gave up on this idea. Obviously, the mystery of the prestige power spell wasn't something he could understand at the moment. Let's go. You have just advanced to the Emperor realm, and your strength is still unstable. Absorb more origin beads and stabilize it earlier. Recovering his thoughts, the Xiao said with a smile. After advancing to the Emperor realm in one go, Xiaoyan's mood was also very good. He nodded his head and walked deeper under the lead of the Xiao. The illusory spirit space was always covered in a gray haze, as if one could never reach the end of the path. Black mist filled the place where one's eyes met, and the ghostly howls of the evil wind could be heard from somewhere, causing one to not dare to be careless. Is there someone ahead? After walking for an unknown period of time, the surrounding scenery was as monotonous as ever. However, the sound of fighting ahead made Xiaoyan couldn't help but feel refreshed. Next to him, the Xiao looked forward curiously, but after thinking for a while, it still didn't enter Xiaoyan's body. He swaggered over with Xiaoyan. There was no need for him to hide here. Who could be stronger than him? A human figure swiftly flashed in front of him. The two monsters fell to the ground in response. The human figure landed and two glowing origin beads appeared in his hands. Ha! Xiaoyan stopped not far away. When he saw the human figure's face, he could not help but smile awkwardly. This young man was one of the two men from Realm in Valley whom he had never seen before. As for who he was, he had no idea. Who are you? The young man also noticed Xiaoyan in an instant. When he saw the latter's appearance, he was slightly startled. Then, he shifted his gaze to the Xiaoao beside Xiaoyan. The doubt in his eyes intensified. He had never seen this red-haired little fellow before when he came in. I'm Xiaoyan. I wonder which senior you are in Realm in Valley. Xiaoyan glanced at the Xiaoao, then cupped his fists at the young man and said in a soft voice. You are Xiaoyan. The young man was shocked when he heard that. He immediately relaxed his brows and stopped asking about the Xiaoao. A smile appeared on his face and he said, I am Xiaoyi. Xiaoyi. Xiaoyan was startled when he heard the young man's self-introduction. He didn't expect this young man to be the third strongest warrior in Realm in Valley. He was also the famous Xiaoyi on the Yunlo ranking in Capital of Chaos. I have been to the Xiao clan before to meet the Great Elder. He asked me to send you a letter. After regaining his senses, Xiaoyan quickly calmed down. After pondering for a moment, he flipped his palm and a bamboo slip appeared in his hand, then he shot it towards Desolate. After catching the bamboo slip, a trace of shock appeared in Xiaoyan's indifferent eyes. There was even a trace of fury. You have been to the Xiao clan. When did this happen? Before entering the academy, I was entrusted by Senior Xiaowang to go. Xiaoyi suddenly looked a little nervous. Although Xiaoyan was puzzled, his face returned to calm as he said. Xiaowang. Xiaowang from the Spirit Heaven Mansion's Purple Radiance sect. Xiaoyi murmured to himself. He suddenly looked at Xiaoyan and said, What else have you seen besides meeting the old man? Xiaoyan frowned and did not hide anything. He said in a clear voice, The Great Elder also let me see the image of the Xiao clan's monarch flame and introduced the history of the Xiao clan. He only saw the images. Xiaoyi's eyes were like swords as he stared at Xiaoyan. Only when he saw the latter nod his head did his nervous expression eased up a little. He tore open the bamboo slip and quickly browsed through the information within it. A shocked expression involuntarily surfaced on Xiaoyi's face. Hey, I never thought that you are also a member of the Xiao clan. He glanced at Xiaoyan with a complicated expression. Xiaoyi held the bamboo slip in his hand. Origin Monarch Ki overflowed from his palm and turned the bamboo slip into ashes. Xiaoyan's expression was calm. He could roughly guess that the bamboo slip given to Xiaoyi by the Great Elder would introduce him to the Great Elder. However, for some reason, he could sense a faint hostility from this fellow. The old man seems to think quite highly of you. Xiaoyi murmured to himself. He took a deep breath and looked at Xiaoyan. Suddenly, he revealed a strange smile and said in a low voice. You are really amazing. It was beyond my expectation that you could fight Jushinho to a draw. However, if you have the monarch flame, there is nothing wrong with it. Xiaoyan raised his eyebrows and stared at Xiaoyi. What do you mean? The Xiaoao on the side also looked at Xiaoyi. This guy was talking nonsense. What was he trying to do? Since we are all from the Xiao clan, I can tell you. Xiaoyi crossed his arms over his chest, and a smile appeared on his face. Jushinho was secretly nurtured by me. I know his strength the best. I thought that he would be stronger than me. He was able to defeat Mahiyu in this competition, but I never thought that he would lose to you. Your strength is only at the monarch spirit, so the monarch flame must have contributed a lot to defeating Jushinho. Xiaoyan looked at Xiaoyi with a calm expression, but a bad feeling suddenly emerged in his heart. The monarch flame can greatly increase my strength. After knowing that you have defeated Jushinho, I believe this saying even more. The Xiao clan has the Golden Emperor Heavenly Phoenix Flame, and no one can subdue it. After a pause, the smile on Xiaoyi's face became even wider. I don't know if you have heard of it before. In ancient times, a fully mastered sacred spirit fire body could rely on its own physique, forcibly keeping the monarch flame for one's own use. Jushinho's physique was the sacred spirit fire body. If it belongs to me, then the Xiao clan's monarch flame. Sooner or later, I'll subdue you, don't you think? Chapter End. Battle Through the Firmament. Grand World. Chapter 329. Wu Yin Meridian. Sensing the cold killing intent in Xiaoyi's tone, Xiaoyan frowned and sneered. In other words, you're waiting for Jushinho to grow stronger. But once his sacred fire body is complete, will you still be a match for him? Jushinho's strength was formidable. At Heaven Pillar Peak, despite the intense ki consumption, he could unleash the sacred spirit fire body to such an extent. Given time, Xiaoyi would stand no chance against him. I don't need to wait for him to master it. In 2 years at most, his sacred spirit fire body will be mine. After nurturing him for so long, he should repay me with his strength. Xiaoyi's gaze sharpened like a blade as he stared at Xiaoyan. Though he coveted the monic flame on Xiaoyan's body, the presence of Xiaoao beside him gave him pause. Even he couldn't see through Xiaoao at a glance. Why tell me all this? Aren't you afraid I'll report it to the elders? Xiaoyan's eyes narrowed as his origin monic ki quietly circulated. At the slightest sign of aggression, he would strike first. I just want you to know, I'll have the monic flame too. The disciples of the Xiao clan in this world won't be weaker than you. And at the 4 academies competition, I'll surpass Mahuyang. Xiaoyi's expression smoothed as he turned to leave. After a few steps, he paused and added with a smirk, oh, and if you're contaminated by even a trace of corpse ki, it'll induce hallucinations. Most can't tell illusion from reality. So, even if you report it, the elders won't care. With a laugh, Xiaoyi vanished into the black fog, his voice lingering in Xiaoyan's ears. Feel free to warn Jushinho. With his pride, he'll only train harder to defeat me. The stronger his sacred fire body, the better it suits me. Clenching his teeth, Xiaoyan held back. As the third ranked in realm in Valley and the Xiao clan's great elder's grandson, Xiaoyi was unpredictable. Even with Xiaoao's help, a fight would only end in mutual destruction. Getting gravely injured here was suicidal. This guy is insufferable. Xiaoao snorted, disgusted by Xiaoyi's smugness. Xiaoyan pursed his lips. He understood the feeling, being targeted for one's power. Back in Forest Domain, the Lei clan had hunted his 3000 lightning monic flame relentlessly, leading to Lian Yuntian's gruesome end. But if Jushinho learns of Xiaoyi's plans, he'll only grow stronger faster. Muttering, Xiaoyan realized he'd underestimated Yunlo Academy's scheming undercurrents. No matter where he went, plots and traps followed. Corpse ki causes hallucinations. Calming himself, Xiaoyan turned to Xiaoao. Mahiyu never mentioned this. I don't know either. Xiaoao scratched his head awkwardly. Back then, Yishinchen's refined core ki shielded them from erosion. He'd only heard rumors of the corpse ki's effects. Xiaoyan's expression darkened further. Worry for Zuna and Kalen gnawed at him. Corpse ki, monsters, traps from rival academies, and malicious students. He sighed helplessly. This ancient battlefield was a den of dangers. Hey, we're here to get stronger, right? Deeper in the middle of illusory spirit space, demons gather in droves. Xiaoao rolled his eyes, feigning nonchalance. Nodding, Xiaoyan pushed forward. Worrying wouldn't help. He could only trust in their safety. The deeper they ventured, the thicker the black fog, obscuring vision and amplifying peril. Crack, a bone shattered underfoot. Xiaoyan glanced down. Crystal clear remnants of an ancient expert, devoured by monsters yet undecayed. An ancient powerhouse, eaten by monsters, but his bones endure. Xiaoao kicked the fragments aside. Indifferently, frowning, Xiaoyan noted the countless bones littering their path. This was clearly a battleground of the past. But why were there no monsters in sight? Raising his head, flames flickered in his eyes, piercing the fog. In the distance loomed a towering mountain, wreathed in surging yin qi and murderous aura. Xiaoao floated beside him, purple light gleaming in his eyes. That's one of illusory spirit space's 5 great yin meridians, the Wu Yin Meridian. Buried there are fallen experts. The old man and I visited once. Though the powerful demons are gone, Emperor level ones likely remain. Grinning, Xiaoao added, it's risky, but your strength will skyrocket there. Interested. His tone dripped with temptation. Xiaoyan eyed him skeptically. Under that gaze, Xiaoao squirmed. I'm just saying. It's your call. Cut the act. What's really in there? Xiaoyan crossed his arms. Fine. Last time, the old man sensed an ancient powerhouse's remains. But the demons were too strong then. Now, they've weakened. Perfect for treasure hunting. Xiaoao's excitement was palpable. Teacher came here too. Xiaoyan studied the enigmatic Wu Yin meridian. After a moment, he nodded. Let's go. Now that's the spirit. Chuckling, Xiaoao darted ahead. Relieved, he no longer had to coax Xiaoyan subtly. Following, Xiaoyan wondered what relic could have drawn Yishinchen's interest. At the mountain's base, the baleful qi thickened, threatening to freeze his blood. Much weaker than before. Back then, even Emperor cultivation warriors couldn't endure this. Xiaoao led the way while Xiaoyan scanned with his soul force. They advanced swiftly. Suddenly, Xiaoyan's brow twitched. Through the fog, a graceful figure approached. Wuxiaoqi, what's she doing here? Chapter End. Battle through the firmament. Grand World. Chapter 330. An Emperor-level monster. Beneath the Shaman Yin meridian, Yin Qi was surging. It was as if a peerless, ferocious beast was prostrating on the ground. The Yin Qi that filled the air was incomparably majestic. It was as if the black fog that filled the sky was spewing out from the mountain range, completely blocking out one's sight. In the distance, the wuxiaojis around Wuxiaoji's body were rolling. The speed at which her feet moved was extremely fast. In a few moments, she had stopped not far from Xiaoyan. She lifted her head and looked at the vaguely visible giant mountain range within the black fog. Her pretty eyes revealed some solemnness. She had lived in the Yunlo Academy since she was young. Due to her relationship with Elder Wu, she was also able to know some things that were not known in the academy. This illusory spirit space was one of them. When she first entered this place, Elder Wu had used his connections to find out some secrets about the illusory spirit space, including the details of the Wu Yin meridian. Unfortunately, due to his lack of strength, he did not have the courage to enter this place. This time, he said that he would go in and explore this place no matter what. Xiaoyan and the Xiaoao looked at Wuxiaoqi from a distance. Both of them were quite surprised by the latter's arrival. The Xiaoao had relied on the memories of their previous life to find this place, but Wuxiaoqi had actually arrived here as well. It really is. First Xiaoyi, then Wuxiaoqi. He rubbed the tip of his nose. Xiaoyan mumbled to himself. Even so, Wuxiaoqi gave him a good feeling. Her straightforward personality also made Xiaoyan have a good impression of her. Wuxiaoqi did not notice anything about Xiaoyan and the Xiaoao's secret observation. She gently bit her teeth and touched the curse mark on the back of her neck. Wuxiaoqi moved her delicate body and carefully entered the mountain range. Although she was very relaxed talking to Elder Wu previously, she was very clear about her own situation. She knew that her life was limited. If she did not put everything on the line this time, she was afraid that she could only. Let's go too, we can't let her get ahead of us. After muttering to himself, the Xiaoao hurriedly pulled Xiaoyan and followed closely behind. Xiaoyan frowned slightly and allowed the Xiaoao to pull him. In that instant, through the monic flame, he actually saw a trace of gloominess on Wuxiaoji's face. That kind of expression was extremely familiar to Xiaoyan. When he was close to despair, he also revealed a kind of helpless expression. Kakaka, Yin Qi raged within the mountain range. It was like numerous sharp blades were sweeping over. Even with the origin monic Qi protecting his body, Xiaoyan still felt a pain on his skin. How long has it been? Back then, the Yin Wind Blade was able to tear apart an Emperor cultivation expert. Now, it is already so weak. The Xiaoao looked at the surrounding cliffs and cliffs. A purple gold light surged in its eyes. It seemed to have recalled the memories of its past life as it muttered to itself. If this continues, I estimate that this illusory spirit realm will really become trash in less than 100 years. After muttering to himself, the Xiaoao stared ahead and increased its speed. Although Xiaoyan was puzzled, He didn't want to ask any more questions. He could only keep up with the speed of the Xiaoao while guarding against the surrounding dangers. Boom! Suddenly, a buzzing sound came from ahead. The mountain seemed to have shattered, and the thick black fog was blown away. This feeling, it's a Monic Emperor monster. The Xiaoao was startled, and then he was overjoyed. He looked at Xiaoyan with a joyful expression and said, "Hurry up and snatch it from that little girl. The origin bead of a Monic Emperor monster is enough for you to increase your strength by 1 grade." As he spoke, the Xiaoao excitedly rushed forward. Xiaoyan was slightly stunned. He did not expect the Xiaoao to be so excited. However, he quickly followed suit, knowing that this was a rare opportunity. After entering the valley, a monster about 5 people tall slowly walked out of the black fog. Every step it took caused the ground to buzz. The monster was wearing black armor, and its head was completely covered by the helmet, only revealing a pair of blood-red eyes. Its eyes were filled with evil energy, and its exposed arms were covered with red fur. In its huge palm, it held a dark black iron rod tightly, and looked at its shape. It was just a devil ape. Wu Shaoxi's expression was grave. A helplessness also surged into her eyes. Although she knew that she would encounter a powerful monster after entering the Wu Yin Meridian, she did not expect that just after entering this place. A monster of this level. It should be the target of Ma Huyang, Lindao, and the others. It was a little difficult for her. With her current strength, the only way to kill this monster was to undo the curse. Roar! The devil ape roared and looked down. Compared to the petite Wuxiaoqi, she was completely at a disadvantage. Swoosh! The black iron rod in his hand was skillfully waved once and the devil ape suddenly swung down. Wherever the black iron rod passed, the black fog was torn apart and the endless yin qi was scattered. Wu Shaoxi's pretty face changed slightly. Her body swayed and her speed was displayed to the limit. Only then did she manage to dodge the black metal rod, which was the devil ape. Boom! The black metal rod smashed onto the ground. A crack instantly spread from the ground. A huge aftershock spread apart and the surrounding cliffs trembled. Numerous spiderweb-like crack lines were formed. This isn't an ordinary Monic Emperor monster. Although it can't be compared to an Emperor cultivation monster, its strength. How can it be so strong? When the Xiaoao saw the devil ape unleash its divine might from afar, it could not help but be shocked when it saw the destructive power of the devil ape. The fiery heat in its eyes had been extinguished quite a bit. "Xiaoyan, this fellow's strength has somewhat exceeded my expectations." The Xiaoao smiled awkwardly. Just as it was about to speak, Xiaoyan rushed out from the side. With a clench of his hand, the blue flame ruler had already appeared in his hand. Lightning surged on the surface of the ruler. The 8-directional thunder ruler had already been used. It ruthlessly smashed onto the black metal rod that the devil ape had struck down once again. Wuxiaoqi had just dodged the attack of the devil ape and before she could react, the black metal rod was already descending again. A helpless look flashed across Wuxiaoqi's eyes. Just as she was about to undo the curse seal on the back of her neck, a metal clanging sound suddenly sounded behind her. Wuxiaoqi was startled and immediately looked to the side. Her pretty eyes could not help but widen as she cried out in shock, "Xiaoyan!" The dark steel staff collided violently with the dark steel staff. Even though he had used the ruler technique Monic skill, Xiaoyan was still sent flying by the huge force. His body forcefully twisted in the air and his feet stepped on the cliff, landing steadily on the ground. Nodding his head at Wuxiaoqi, Xiaoyan revealed a bitter smile and said, "I'm sorry senior, I couldn't help but attack." Wuxiaoqi recovered from the shock in an instant. Her body flashed again and she came to Xiaoyan's side. She was delighted. "You have come at the right time. There is no need to thank me. I will remember your kindness." Shaking his head with a bitter smile, Xiaoyan looked at the devil ape not far away. He grinned and said, "Let's defeat this monster first. Why do I feel that there is some danger?" Wuxiaoqi nodded with a solemn expression. Before they had even exchanged blows, she could clearly sense that this Monic Emperor monster was slightly different. However, She was unable to pinpoint exactly where it was. With a furious roar, the devil ape's eyes were like blood. Its huge body leaped nimbly as it raised the black metal rod in its hand. Like a meteorite, it smashed down towards the two of them. This idiot. Seeing that Xiaoyan had subconsciously gone out to save them, the Xiaoao gritted its teeth. This was great. It had aroused the anger of this monster. Although it spoke, the Xiaoao's body did not slow down. It also charged forward explosively. Purple gold light surged within its eyes. It clenched its hand and a purple gold large stone tablet was suddenly formed in midair. It violently smashed towards the devil ape's black metal rod. Dragon tablet hand. A layer of solemnness surged onto the young face of the Xiaoao. As it flipped its hand, the huge stone tablet appeared to be a monument that had suppressed the ages as it pressed down on the devil ape. In an instant, purple gold light surged in this area, forcing back the endless black fog. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.